Hello, everyone. Good evening or good night, depending on where you are. We are very happy to have you all here in today's session. Today, we are talking about vibe coding in an enterprise, and I'm looking forward to today's conversation. But before we start, I would like to introduce our co-host who are today with us. So Pedro, hello Pedro, how are you doing?
Hey, hello, Chila. Thanks for the introduction. I'm really excited for the topic today. I'm actually, uh, I've been talking about this topic with many people uh, because it's something that I'm doing in my day-to-day basis, and I'm seeing how people are struggling to use these AI tools inside their companies,
Mm,
and I say, "Wow, people are all excited about it, and you can't, and we can't use in our companies. Why? What's the problem here, right?" So I
mhm,
think this is a very, very interesting topic, and I'm pretty excited to talk about it.
mhm.
I prepared some stuff to show here.
Ah, that's fine. Okay, and I would like to say hello to Louise. Hey
Hello,
Louise, how are you?
I'm finding you.
Mhm.
Uh, I hope everyone is okay as well. And I'm also excited about this topic because we already discussed about AI here, and uh, we already have had at least one session about the tools that can help developers to use AI on a daily basis. And uh, every day I I see developers talking about the same subject, doing the same question. Will AI substitute developers? And I don't think so. But at least we need to understand how to use properly the AI tools to help us build better software. So I hope this discussion today will help us have a better understanding, a better vision about these
Mhm.
AI tools. And thanks, Pedro, to bring this subject for us today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, good evening and hello everyone. Welcome everyone who is joining today's sessions. And if you have got any comments, questions, remarks, or you would just like to share with us your experience so far, feel free and write it into the chat, and then we can try to answer your questions. So I see the first comment. Hello, Jeter. Nice to have you here. Pedro, yes. So I think you are the star of this session.
There's an old friend. We we we've we've met when we were studying Java like long ago, and it's been quite a journey since then.
Yeah,
So, but
okay.
Jetta is an entrepreneur. He's
Mhm,
doing lots of very, very good stuff, and yeah, this is uh, uh, and this this idea of teaching is something that I like, actually. I love to 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 teach some topics like this. This kind of topic is really cool. I've been studying a lot in the last few weeks, and but I was a Java instructor like for so long, and it's something that
mhm.
helped me to be more trying to improve my communication. You know that it's not that easy, but
Yes.
Pedro, since
it's
you
super.
mentioned this, can you start teaching us what is vibe coding? Because I think some developers yet doesn't know this term.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
people know vibe coding for sure.
Yeah.
Vibe coding is in all around the internet, right? Everybody talk about vibe coding, and that's why people say that developers will lose all their jobs. And vibe coding is the word. people look, I'm vibe coding here. I did a vibe. I did some stuff in vibe coding. I will show one of my vibe codings today. But what is vibe coding itself? It's something that you say to AI, I want that. And the AI goes and creates it for us. All the code, yeah, all the stuff. Even you can even like vibe code the image. So you create a new image using, I don't know, any kind of image model. We have like ChatGPT even doing that today, but we can do it anywhere. So vibe coding is the people say, okay, I want to get a product, but I don't have the skills much, so I rely to AI to write all this code for me. And people are doing that like a lot, doing lots of good stuff using vibe coding.
Mm-hmm.
And and I say, okay, perfect. So no need to developers anymore, right? Right? So okay, Andres say, hi people. It's good. Hey, hi Andres. In my company, they are encouraging AI usage and vibe coding, as well as using AI in the products. Yeah, we have two differences here, right? We have the AI in the product, so we are coding AI, we are coding to our products to have some kind of AI intelligence. Uh, but we're talking vibe coding here is much more about developers or anybody, right, trying to use AI to create code to generate the
Mm-hmm.
product, the code of the product, right?
Yes.
And I think this is a pretty difference here. Sometimes when we are using for side projects, it's kind of cool. We don't have code reviewers. We don't have guidelines. We don't have pipeline that don't pass if we forgot a small syntax or a kind of coding style that needs to pass as well, right? So using the side part is very easy. We can get any AI. All these AIs are very good. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and talk about like I like talk about Cursor, but for vibe coding new projects in these cloud AIs are awesome, lovable. Now we have the launch of um, OpenAI Codex. We have the launch of Google new guy, I forgot the name. It launched like this week. So all these guys, they are trying to go to the cloud, so you need to go there. Like Haplet has one of these as well. So yeah, uh, uh, it's when we and even in these cases, if you go a little more complex in your product, you start getting troubles. I There is a very famous YouTuber here in Brazil, there in Brazil, called Lucas Montano, and this guy is like he likes to talk about new technology and blah blah, and then he say, okay, let me try these AIs as well, and he tried some products with vibe coding, and then he always say, okay, I in the very first half an hour it's nice, and then we got a bug, and then the AI got stuck, and then it starts like deleting code that shouldn't. So yeah, it's kind of it's not that easy as people say, but yeah, it's cool. It's an interesting moment to believe.
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, and Andres is continue here, right?
Yes, right. Uh, Only developers will be able to successfully write code, he adds, at least with the current state of the art.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think this is true, at least for the people, the current state of that. It's true. There. I've seen other tweeters, people complaining, like uh, some entrepreneurs that want to start a product but they are not technical, so and then they don't want to have a technical partner, and then they say, then they tried vibe coding and then they got stuck many times. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not that uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
So currently developers can vibe code because they can unblock when we get blocked, right? When we get blocked by the AI, we can uh, 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 developers can unblock, but no,
Yes, because we have got
no technical people don't.
yes.
Oh, we have one new guy here in our.
Yes, exactly. Hugo just arrived.
Hey,
Hey, good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I was without energy here, and AI couldn't solve this for me. I just have to say. But yeah, thanks for having me today.
thank you, Hugo.
And
We're talking about Vabi coding here.
vibe coding, yeah. Yes,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
excited
Oh,
to.
do you have experience with Vabi coding?
Oh, I don't know if I can. I say vibe coding. Yeah, I've been using AI during development process, and I see. I was hearing you on the channel, and one thing, it's very true. Uh, I do a lot of these. Use only on my personal computer on new projects, or also on professionally, but usually on new stuff, new projects, greenfield, something that I need to validate, something that I need some examples. When it comes to a professional development, here where I work, we are enabled with GitHub Copilot, and super way better now. I think in the very beginning it wasn't so good, but now we are able to also choose the model that we're gonna use under the hood, and then we have Claude 3.7. It's powerful model.
Mm-hmm.
Still GPT 4.0. It's quicker and faster to write things. So if you have enough, I've been using the one stack that Eddie Osmani from Google mentioned a while ago. It's using a more powerful model for planning, and
Mm-hmm.
more smaller, quicker model to implement after you have the plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a combination that have been working for me,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. But on production, I still have some production code. I still have some concerns of letting the agent do something. I usually want to see everything it changes, and while it's doing the changes, and also have more control over the things that it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but it's working very well. I most of the time asking questions, letting it edit some specific files, and so on. But when I'm on the on the wild new project, it's okay. I need this and that. I need you to cover these libraries. One example I gave recently, it was to compare 7 libraries of the same thing on the front end, and in a very few time ago, I couldn't do something like that. I have at least when most of when a lot, I have been able to compare 3 libraries, and give a try on them, and then decide for each of them. And yeah, recently we could do 7 examples, all working. Of course, we have to tweak some stuff to make it perfectly working. But yeah, way it wasn't able to do things like that a few moments ago, a few time ago.
Yeah, for sure. It's completely true. Completely true. And I think this part of like giving AI some plans and stuff. It's interesting to discuss as well. Let's get this topic. But just before, we have Dorival here. Great subject
Sure.
today.
Hello.
Thanks, Dorival. Yay! Nice to see you again. Andres' comment about okay, Gemini Canvas. Yeah, the new product from Google for sure.
Mhm.
Yes, but there is they are everybody is launching new products every day, and developers are the main target audience. Yeah, it's good to take a look in all these things. Uh, yeah, Andre say that if you don't take a if you're not technical, sometimes we put unsafe code in production. Yeah, it happened many times when you don't look at the code. You need to be really careful. And if you don't check the AI output, you're not vibe coding. You are blind coding.
Blind coding.
Like it, blind coding. That's nice. Well, but I have something to show you. If you don't, if everybody's okay,
Yes,
let
sure.
me share my screen here. I'm vibe coding and this guy here. Let me put it on the stream. Yay, great. Yeah, I wanted a slideshow that where the slides were a markdown, and I realized that it's already in place. There is a JavaScript library to do that, but of course I didn't know before vibe coding it. So I vibe coded this slide presenter for me, and I put it here in my domain, and then I can open an MD file that has his markdown slides and
Oh,
show it here. It's
interesting.
pretty cool. Yeah, and,
Mhm.
and I can change the theme as well. It was always all vibe code, okay? I
Ah,
asked, okay, I want different teams. I
Who needs
want
PowerPoint?
yeah, I
Now we
want to
can
open
do
a
presentations on
file.
Markdowns.
Yeah. I want a full
Yay!
screen. I want full screen. So
Full
yeah,
screen.
full screen. So yeah, then I started Vabi coding, and it's I and I he asked me, oh, how do you want the code? I said no, just one big script JavaScript file, please. I don't want any React and this kind of stuff. Don't, because I don't have much. I don't want to be much more than this. Okay,
Clean,
that's Vibe
clean,
coding.
clean and native, right?
Yeah, clean native and it's in working. Right? So this is my vibe coding here. Well, I'm creating this what I call the effective AI, is that exactly to help people to get to this point, like to get using vibe coding inside the company, right? So the idea is to maximizing your coding superpowers. Of
Has
course, you want
animations
to
too.
this is my vibe coding
I,
work.
this vibe coding will. It's better than me for these stuffs.
And I'm not JavaScript developer. I'm not a front-end developer, I'm a back-end
So yeah,
developer.
great work.
And of course, my goal with this presentation here is talking about enterprise vibe coding. I like the naming. All right. When I say enterprise vibe coding, you say, okay, I want vibe coding in my company. I don't want to vibe code these things here. But of course, it's good if you get to this side project. It's really nice. That's well, I didn't say why I wanted this. I wanted this because I wanted that AI create my slides. And I said to AI, create this because I want to mark it out as slides. And it will be these rules here. And then everything fine. Now I can create my slides using vibe coding as well. That's cool. All these slides are created by AI, okay? And then the idea is to show some demo, a practical demo that people you're gonna see. So I think the very first concept we need to understand when we are looking for these things is that all these AI tools works on top of prompt engineering, right? So if we don't put in clear instructions in these guys, you won't have good outputs, right? So, for example, all these ideas of good prompting, that is role, context, task, formats, you know, all these things you need to have to get good results. But Pedro, I can't write all this prompting in my in my cursor or in my Copilot. It's not that effective, for sure not. That's why Copilot already have some parts of it for you. So all the system prompt, they have like this big system prompt behind the scenes. Remember when when the prompts got leaked in the internet? People from Twitter send some the system prompt from Cursor, system prompt from Lovable, system prompt from all these tools. People are getting the prompt. So we see the prompts. The prompts are really big and structured to help you to write code. That's the thing. So if the role is already there, right? Parts of the task is already there in the tool. What's your part of it? Oh, part of the format is already there, right? What is your part? You need to give the task that we always have, like, oh, okay, create this feature for me, create this slide presenter for me, right? But if you just say that, you are not saying formats constraints, or you are not putting context enough, and then this guy will create anything from the mind, just what they want. If you don't say anything, it will be a mess. And I can say to you that it's much easier to start right and continue iterating than we start wrongly and try to fix afterwards. It's really easy to the AI tools to get lost if you start wrongly and then try fix it. Try to start good in a good shape first. That's why what Hugo said before about planning is pretty powerful, right? So because when you plan, you create a structure, a context in the task, pretty structured in a way that LLMs can follow easily. Of course, not easily. We're talking about big LLMs, right? We're talking about the good ones. I always use Gemini 2.5 Pro in my work. Of course, Claude 3.7 is really good as well. But for me, the Gemini, it's a thinking model, so it's when we have to plan stuff, it's pretty good to see. And I still had some cases where I was trying something really complex, and I had to go to ChatGPT deep search and say, ChatGPT, look for this solution for me. And this was, of course, after some chatting, I got the context, put in ChatGPT, and said, ChatGPT, figure this out for me. Because then we are trying to do a deeper research, right? It's completely different than just a one planning or an execution, right? So remember, everything is prompt engineering. It's as better we put our prompts, as better we put our context, as better we put our tasks, we get better results. So, well, that is another part. I will not talk about that. And let me show you a demo that Tila asked me last week, and I was thinking about it. Say, how could I show this, right, in a practical way? You know how the difference is, right? And then what I did, I created
you asked Gemini. You asked Gemini. How
to
can I
create this.
show this?
No, this one I did by
yourself
first, and then I asked them to create it.
Oh, we have
Right?
Samuel here with us.
Who?
Yeah, we have Samuel here with us. Hey, Samuel, good to have you here. Welcome.
Hey, welcome, Samuel. Good. Yeah, everything good here from Brazil. Yeah, it's good to see Brazil. Brazil's winter is almost it's almost winter, right? It's autumn in
Yeah.
Brazil,
Yes, it
and
is.
it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same temperature from here in Canada now. All right. So okay, let me go to my cursor, and I won't execute now because it will take some time. I have executed, and I left the chat here, okay, so we can follow, right? So be with me here. What I did,
Pedro, I think if you
I
can
need.
zoom in, would be good.
All right.
Uh, the font size, yeah.
Yeah, just a minute. Command plus. Getting better. Too much.
I think it's good. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing that I noticed by using this chat copilot in the IDEs, the space starts to become an issue, right? Space in the screen.
Yeah, so we lose this. That's why it's really hard to like be live coding,
Live code, yeah.
especially
Live,
with
live,
AI.
live coding.
Live vibe coding, can you imagine? So no, what I did here, okay, i I had no context, but I have one task, okay. I say, okay, in this folder here, no context, create a new feature for the product service. The feature should be the new endpoint returning a list of products. Use the following product definition: product blah blah blah, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
Normal feature. And then, of course, our friend Cursor started looking what we had and realized that there is nothing about product service, right? And said, okay, this folder is empty. There are no code examples. I can't do much. So what I will do, I will proceed with a minimal Python API using Fast API. Define a product model, implement an endpoint here, and I will put on the hard-coded database information for you, okay? Just say, okay, go ahead. And then he starts creating stuff. What he did create? He did create a project service. I didn't change anything, okay? So he created one file called product service that has product, that has an endpoint using Fast API that return the products. Boom. Nothing more. Nothing more. And I said, okay, I need to run this guy. Can you help me? Right? And then, okay, and he wrote some requirements, and then I was able to ask this to run internally, and it worked. Okay, everything's working. Nice vibe coding, it works, but it doesn't pass my code review. Why? We have only one file. We have a domain, product, controller, service, everything in one file. We don't have any tests, right? I don't even know if I accept using Fast API in my company, right? So I didn't tell anything. Of course, I couldn't get anything much better than this. It's pretty good actually, right? But yeah, it wouldn't pass in my code review. So I say, okay, let's try use some context. What I did, I created a file. I have something similar already, so I adjusted from here. So I call it architectural rules, right? So the architectural rules has what I call layered architecture enforcement. So the very first version of it, I created, I vibe coded some code that I already have created, put here, right? And not vibe code. Sorry, I asked Cursor to look at my code and create the roles that code enforces. Okay, so the code is the way I want. So I Cursor look at the code and create a rule file and explaining these rules. Okay, so this is the very first moment that I have a context. I could say, okay, my code works like this. I want to keep it doing this. And if I want to create a new service, use these ideas, right? Which ideas? In my case, libraries, Flask, SQL Alchemy, unit test, right? Code style, use the object-oriented programming style. Don't use the structured programming style, right? So it's something that I want. And I say layers organization, how it would be API layer, controllers, models, open API specification, service layer, how it works, data layer, infrastructure, like if we need some configs, blah, 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 etc. Tests, how organize the tests in my folders, tests, unit tests, how to run it, how to organize it, how to create it, you see, blah, blah, blah. So lots of interesting stuff here that is explain how the things are structured, right? I use it product here, but it could be anything. It's just an example, right? And then I did exactly same thing. I started a new chat. And I did like this. Now I put the architecture MD here. Our empty folder. And then I say, create a new feature for the product service. The feature should be a new endpoint that returns a list of products. Use the follow product definition. Blah. The prompt is exactly the same. The only thing that I have it is using these roles. Boom. That's the only thing that I added. Right? And then the guy started looking at my code and find out that our with context was already empty. Right? And then it doesn't have any of the required folders, blah, blah, blah. So I will create the following structure. See the difference? Real difference here. And then it goes and boom, created everything. All the folders. Blah. And then it started creating different files because it's a layered architecture, right? So model, repository, service, data classes, controller, using Flask API, Open API, a spec, test product service, test product controller. I'm showing here this one prompt, okay? This was the very first prompt. That's the result. I'm showing here just so you to not say that I'm doing some kind of advertisement here because I'm not. Cursor, if you want to advertise me, I wouldn't complain, right? But yeah, we don't have any advertisement here. I just like Cursor, and what I did is, it didn't create a requirement text file, and I said, wow. It's interesting. I didn't mention anything that about in the rules, right? About how to organize the libraries. So it's a miss in my time. So I would, in an iteration, I could say, okay, I'm missing that. I will put that here, and say, okay, create it, and all the libraries must be in the requirements, right? And then it's created, and boom, I said, okay, everybody put everything there. It started creating the virtual environment. Blah, blah, blah. And then it says, okay, run this guy, right? So, and then I tried to run the tests and I got some errors. I said, wow. model not found. And because they're missing init files. It's okay. It is adjusted, did everything. What I want to do, okay, finish it, put everything there. Boom, everything worked. Okay. Oh no, I got some errors. Oh, this is an interesting error here. I can talk about that. I don't know if I can, if I it would be good to continue, because the errors here was because the version of Python, when I created the virtual env, this version doesn't work correctly with my libraries, and then it suggests to downgrade the virtual env, which I did to version 3.11 here. Boom, and then everything worked, right? So this is vibe coding, right? I was not creating. I'm not creating any code here. I make sure my code follows my rules. I make sure the code has tests. I make sure that it run the tests and make sure the test passing.
Mhm.
So you can
That's
see the
pretty
test.
cool.
Yeah. API layer, controllers, models, the API schema. Now we have all the .NET the neat files here. Repository, service, the integration test, the unit test. Let's see.
Um,
So man, this is much more my enterprise vibe coding. So, it's very important to say here. Enterprise vibe coding is not about, oh, hey, let's create some new,
Fancy stuff.
nice stuff, fancy stuff here. No, it's make our job done. And as you can see, it's not something that
Reliably, right?
yeah,
reliably. You see,
but
I can get this code and send to code review.
mhm. Pedro, would you do that in production? Deploy to production this code? What
I,
was
I'm
generated?
doing that. I'm currently doing in my
You are
job.
doing?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
creating like really big code here, like something that people this is saying that our tasks are increasing,
Mhm.
because before we divide our tasks in a way that we could finish like in one day, and then it ends in at most 500 lines, so we can get good code reviews, right? And then currently we are getting to 4,000 lines in the same time, 2,000 lines. So it's something that we can't do. We can't continue. We need to divide our tasks a little more, to not, because in our company, code review is very important. Okay, and currently the code review is manual. So other engineer needs to take a look at your code and look at it and see if it's okay. So of course, when I send a PR, the first guy who looks at this PR is me, and then I look and see if there is anything I need to change, or I didn't like it, or I need to refactor, right? So this is the very first thing that I do, and then but actually, if you ask me my workflow, it's a little more complex than that. We can talk about that later. But yeah, we need to look at the code review to make sure this code is okay. And all the code has unit tests and integration tests. It follows the rules of our tests. So something that I make sure is that the tests are okay and are covering everything. And I can ask the AI, say, "Oh, these tests are covering. Can you add any other tests that we're missing here?" And it goes and try to check.
Mhm.
We can ask for a code review, right? it's in a normal way. But there is some companies that are focused on code review, AI code review, right? So there are companies that are focused on parts of this workflow. There are companies that are focused on planning part. One of a very very common one today is Taskmaster. You look at it and say Taskmaster is doing exactly this: is creating plans for AI, and they have this MCP that we can access the guy. But I do planning using Markdown files. It works the same, but at least for me, I didn't see any other thing that I say, okay, it's much better. So yeah, as I said, in the end, it's prompt engineering.
Yeah, and the approach is, I believe, is a way to scale the impact of the value of the AI, right? By creating these shareable patterns, standards that you follow inside the company. I believe that most of people that works in a team, in a company, we do have some standards. We do document it. At least somewhere you say, oh, we use Java here with this stack for Logger, for ORM, for whatever else libraries you use. But probably I have somewhere in the wiki, we do, let's follow this and that, don't do this and that, let's avoid this and that. And probably a single prompt to actually organize it to make a architectural document for vibe coding prompt.
Is enterprise vibe coding.
Yes, yeah, enterprise vibe coding, yeah.
Yeah, what I say is that even if you don't have it, right? Oh, I don't have that in weeks. In weeks, right? So let's say I don't, and I need to create it. But you have the code that you look at and say, yeah, I want my code for my company that looks like this.
Follow this, yeah.
Follow this. You could say to me, oh, okay, Pedro, but I can just show the code and say, okay, follow this. You can do that. For sure, you can. Right? Especially in specific cases. So, for example, I have creating repository tests, integration tests, and I wanted I didn't have anything written, and I put the cursor and I said, okay, cursor, use these files as a template and create mine. And if I was very, very able to follow the patterns. And then after all this work, I said, okay, Cursor has this generate rules from the chat. This guy. And it can create rules from the chat you created, right? When I did my case, I didn't have this feature. It is a new feature, okay? So what I did was I asked it in prompt to say, okay, write all these ideas and how the way you created, the way we created these tests, this kind of tests, and create a rule file for me, a markdown file for me with rules. And then it wrote lots of stuff. I vibe coded that text to say, oh, remove this, put that. Oh, you don't need to be that. Discuss it. Then I put, okay, now the text is okay. And then I created a Cursor rule to say, repository integration tests. Specific. Right? So every time I want to create a repository integration tests, I add that file as a context. Boom. All my repository tests are really working well. You can say the same. Oh my god, someone is raising their voice here. Hey!
I think it was
for
the caps lock on.
I'm the
But yeah,
backend
not
intern in
really.
my team, and now I should connect it to AI, Docker, and front end. And our project is Turbo Repo. And can you explain how? Okay, unfortunately, we can't do this. Explain here how to do that right now, but of course depends on lots of what you need to do here, right? But if we're talking here about connecting to AI tools, you could use some AI tools like MCP tools that could help. You know, that helps to write to connect to your uh, front end, to connect to your to database sometimes, depending if you have like MCP, Supabase MCP that connects to backend. It of course it depends on what you have, right?
Yeah,
You
that's
can connect. I don't connect, okay? I don't create any connections here because we already have some DevOps CLI here in my company. So what I do is to instruct the AI how to use the CLI. So for example, my code, the test cannot be run inside Cursor. The test must be run from the CLI. I instruct the Cursor how to run the CLI tests using CLI, using terminal. And then I ask Cursor, say, Cursor, we need to implement this, this, and this. It needs to create tests. You need to run the tests and fix any issues using Cursor agent. And then start, it's create code, create the tests, run the tests, get the issues because it always get issues, and then I start fixing the issues. The idea is to have a small prompt, a small feature, a small task with all the code, all the tests, all tests passing, and fix it. And then Cursor can do that alone, almost alone. Right? Sometimes it struggles, sometimes it gets stuck, sometimes it starts creating stuff that shouldn't, sometimes it starts messing with files that they shouldn't. Yeah, it happens, and that's why I can't just leave it here. There were cases that I just left here and go get a coffee, but there most of the time it's done. Most of the time it's working, and then it starts messing around that shouldn't. So we need to stop and changing the prompt, asking something different, right? So another big tip that I can send you guys here is always commit the code you find okay. When you get to a stable point that you look okay, this is good. Even if in the very
great.
beginning of your
It's
task,
a great tip.
commit. Okay. If I can talk about my workflow, I create a plan that I divide my task in subtasks. And every subtask has create code, create tests, run tests, fix it, wait for my approval. That is a rule I put there. Wait for my approval. Because if I don't put this, when it finishes the first subtask, it starts the second right away. And I want to commit, right? And I say, no, I will review code, check is everything okay, and then commit. It slows my pace for sure, but it makes my code much more reliable. That's why I can't put like 2,000 lines from vibe coding in production.
And
More than that. In
yeah,
1 week, much more than that.
yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, just a minute. Andres said, instruct the agent to commit after the test pass. It would be a good idea, Andres, if I didn't want to check the code. Every time it stops, I go and look at the code, see if it did it right, see if it's missing something, check the tests. When I look and say, okay, it's good.
You want to do blind coding, right?
Yeah, I don't want to blind coding, Andres. I don't want to blind coding. Go ahead, you.
Yeah, because even if test passes, it doesn't mean that it's correct, right? You have to check if it's doing what you expect to do. And yeah, on your vibe coding process, I see that Codex. I never used Codex before, and I see that there is agent option. I don't know if it's the same as Copilot. We have ask, edit, and agent mode. It's the same thing. Have you been using agent mode for this process and let it do stuff all alone?
No, it's not do all stuff all alone. It's not what agent is, okay?
Mm.
Agent is you can do you can execute functions.
Yeah.
That's what agent does. It can
Mhm.
execute functions. So it's important when we put an agent mode, it can execution any kind of functions, even
Uh,
create a file, edit a file,
mm.
look at the web, and call MCP, whatever, right? So when you use agent mode, it's important that you know that you have some kind of control what it's doing,
Uh,
right? So
uh,
for example, what does I control I do? Okay, there are some terminal commands like run tests. I leave it to run like without
mm.
my permission. So that's
Okay.
why I'm not okay. I'm okay. So it started and run tests and all that stuff. So when it gets to a point that it starts doing wrong stuff, like calling a different terminal command that I am not expecting, it stops because
RF.
yeah, because the cursor stops waiting for my permission,
Mm.
right? And that's the moment that I say, "What are you doing, man?" Sometimes I yell if I say, "You don't stop when I ask it. You're not following the rules." Interesting, you know. So sometimes we need to make sure it's following the rules. So
Yes.
I put the rules in the context and I say, "Follow the rules." I have to say sometimes, not always. Like
Mm.
you saw here, but what I think it is,
Reinforce it,
I think
right?
it. Yeah, I think it is because of the context window,
Mm.
right? It gets too big during the chat, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to plan to have small subtasks so you can restart the chat. Because if you don't restart the chat, it starts losing
Mm.
the context. And then it starts trying to get all your previous chats to the context again, you know?
And
And
losing a
sometimes you
lot,
don't need it.
lots of tokens as well, right?
Exactly. It starts like using tokens that you don't need, you know? And then it starts getting lost and trying stuff that it's not correct, trying terminal command that is not correct, creating tests without using the correct style, you know. So I see that as soon as the chat starts growing. There is something interesting here in Cursor that is this guy here. Um, you see auto run mode. You can enable auto run mode just for some commands.
Yeah. I think it's on Klein. They divided as plan and act, and I thought that uh, edit is already act, but they have this difference. Act is already
Mhm.
this agent mode. Okay,
Uh-huh.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are many of these AI tools that are already inputting this plan stage, right,
Mhm.
inside the tool.
The act.
Yeah, Corso doesn't have it, so I
Mm.
have to create it, like
I
by
see.
myself, like
Mhm.
create a
Yeah.
instruction that
You
says
structured it.
create a
Yeah.
plan. Yeah, so it's of course if you get an AI tool that already have it, much better, right? I'm not finding here the thing that I want to show. That is the context stuff. Oh my god. Well, there is one guy here somewhere that says about the context. I'm not finding it here anymore. I don't know if they remove it
Recent updates,
because
latest
yeah,
update.
yeah, maybe because this is the I could choose if the chat use the entire context, like don't compress the text, send the entire context, or there is a compress here. You can, when you create a new chat with the compress chat, you can do that as well here. But yeah, I am not finding anymore. Probably they remove it. And about that you talking about here, agent. See,
Hey, that's manual.
it says agent when they can run some stuff. Ask if they don't run anything.
Only chat. Yeah.
Manual, they suggest so you can choose. There is custom mode that you can create different. What they
Ah,
can do with
cool.
it.
Okay.
So you can create a plan mode, for example.
And you put your own instructions.
Yeah, I can put my own instructions.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great.
This is really, it's interesting. I
Yeah.
never okay.
Hmm?
But of course, yeah, you can. We can.
Yeah,
That's why I say it's important to know your tool. The same way we are doing in our entire life as coder, as developers. Right? We need to know our tools. Okay, it's Copilot. Go and know Copilot from everything, right? Oh, if it's Cursor, go know Cursor. If it's Cline, go know Cline, right? Know the goodies and the and the baddies, right?
Cool. Really cool, Pedro. Yeah, you just give me some insights here how to adopt those enterprise vibe coding. Doesn't need to be vibe coding. I think having the prompt with the rules organized, it's very useful. You don't need to vibe code it. You can just use it as a context and then start chatting stuff. It's already guided way to chat with your code, following company enterprise wide rules. I think really cool. I was thinking also, you see Andres' answer here, and might be interesting, Andres' suggestion when he said about commit after the test is to because he can forget, and then yeah, I think you're right. If you can if the test passes, you commit, and then okay, that
Then
last
I
commit
take a look.
undo
It's
it,
possible.
reset.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's something about your workflow, right? How the things, the way you like to work. I prefer to look at the code before, so I can have in my cursor here the diff, and then I see the diff and check the diffs and see it's okay. But we can do the same. If you open the PR like a draft PR, you can always commit and push after the test pass, and then you go there and look at it. It's something. It's for you.
Makes sense. Up
Yeah,
to
you
up
can.
to each. Yeah.
Yeah, up to your choice. But the main thing that I always say is create a workflow for you, and create a workflow that is AI friendly, right? So something that you don't do, like I don't write a plan when I create when I'm going to
That's true.
code. I don't do that, but I do in my mind.
Yeah.
I know what I want to write before I start writing. But AI don't do like that. AI we need to have something written. Go to AI, make AI write this, look at the plan, see if it's okay with what you're thinking, suggest some changes, right? Suggest change stuff. Say no, don't do that, do that. put there, discuss it. Now, when you are okay with the plan, go in, and then you go and stick with the plan. Right? It's it how when the time as the time passes, you start getting used to. We start getting more confidence in the AI because your contexts are okay, your prompts are okay, your rules are okay. You get even more confidence and more confidence, and then you'll be stopping the AI less. You allowing AI go like even faster.
To become more predictable the output because you instructed it in a quality way, right? In a high quality way. Yeah.
And Andrew said something important here. The best thing is it makes you put in your intentions. Yeah, something that we don't do.
Yeah.
We developers don't write.
Hate
They don't like.
to
They hate to write.
they type code, but writing in
Yeah,
natural language.
we write code only. That is remember extreme programming. They say, "Oh, we don't need to put any comments in the code. If you put comments, you are wrong because the code must be the comment."
Yeah.
We know that's not like that.
Express the intention, right? Yeah.
Intention, yes.
Simadri asked it here. I think it's a nice question. Loving the backend work, so in order to build my backend journey, suggest me some good projects to do.
Yeah, it's easy. So you are backend. You need to have project that implements API endpoints, REST endpoints, Open API schemas, integration with database, using ORM in your language to the database. Use some kind of migrations so you can evolve your database through time. After everything, you can start thinking about dependency injection, how dependency injection works, which kind of dependency injection container you can use. Python doesn't have it, for example. In my repo, I put a dependency injection file that I just created my dependency injection manually. And it works nicely because I can configure this stuff. Now I can just say I can add a new topic and add a new kind of message, a new type of message, and just configuring in the dependency injection. So all these concepts and layered architecture. Understand how you can layer an architecture using controllers, servers, models, repositories. Okay, so you can use all this just creating. Use you for the product guy here. Everything that I'm saying here, you can use a product today, and of course you can have relations. You can have two different servers calling each other. How to do that? There is a big roadmap in backend.
Yes. Well, Smadri, if you're looking for a very first thing to build, I don't know your stack, but I would recommend you to start with the stack that you're comfortable with. Apply some of these common challenges, common problems, or some problem that you have in real life. Someone that needs, like the project that Pedro made here. It's a PowerPoint markdown for PowerPoint. Yeah. So solve some real problems in around you. Someone close to you that might need something, might need a website, a simple website for them.
Yeah.
Try to implement on your stack. I think that would be interesting to work, and you also end up with some useful thing for someone and make this someone happy with that.
Even if it's you. Like my slide presenter here, it's just me.
But you
Just
are
give
very
me
happy, and I think it's very interesting.
help me a lot. Wow, I can put code. I can put like diagrams. It works
That's awesome.
perfectly.
Well, I think we are close to the end. I just have one question I would like to do, Pedro. But because we, in the very beginning, there was some discussion. We have gotten to. Oh, I think we still need to be developers to build this thing because we cannot validate the code. But I think even developers, if we do this blind coding, we're gonna be a problematic. I think people, non-technical people, but at least have a good sense of what is important part, what is what I need some help, what I can actually read and understand. Beside, even if I'm not developer, I think they can actually it's a powerful tool to enable people starting their journey with as a developer. They can go deeper into and start building something useful. Uh, but yeah, I was thinking, okay, even developers, they can do blind coding, and it would be a challenge to know if they are doing blind coding or not on your
Like
team.
code.
Yeah, it's that would be challenging, right? I think you probably address it with a code review. But any kind of discussion you had before, like uh, because yeah, it's really someone that is not very committed with the with the results or with the consequences of things that can break later
Oh yeah.
and very difficult to address. I think that's some challenges coming
Hmm.
on coming soon with these
Oh yeah.
lots of codes
It,
being generated and difficult to actually yeah, really validate. I think I don't know
validate
what
the
you
code you
think
say.
about that. Yeah.
In the big before the AI, we already have this like people trying to copy and paste from Stack Overflow and just
Yeah, but they
trying to
are
see if it
constrained.
works.
They
Yeah,
could not
but
scale this, right?
yeah, it's not that it was not that easy to
Yeah.
do this kind of copy and paste and don't think about it, right? Uh, but for sure that's why it's something that your company must be looking for, right? This the software engineering best practices. So it's very important that you have a CI/CD. That is very important that you have a good pipeline that can run stuff like uh, our pipeline, for example. They have some analysis that before you can commit, it checks if you are putting any kind of key in your code.
Hmm.
You see, like the same thing that looks like a key, it says, "Oh, it's maybe a key. I will not commit this code." It's a pre-hook in the Git, you know. So this is a pre-commit hook, right?
Hmm.
And this
Yeah.
is this is very important because it's easy to leak a key if you
Hmm.
forget because you're trying stuff, and especially in AI. Remember when I said here that I want to look at the code before I commit? It's better for me in this case. This process is better for this than like commit and then look at the PR. In my case, my company, my pipeline would say, okay, I will not commit this code because of this, and say, oh, okay, sorry, right?
Hmm.
But this
Hmm.
is part of the pipeline of the company, and we have lots of pipeline, lots of actions inside the pipeline, you know. So one of them will be code review, AI code review, in the near future. People are already looking for it. There is a company that, as I said, there's a company that does that. We can just plug in our pipeline and have code AI code review and AI fix, AI
Hmm.
PR for
Yep.
AI changes because of that code
And that's
review.
and that's we have it for some time, right? We have the dependent bot running on GitHub, and then it always run the security stuff and advise me, oh, your repository have outdated libraries, so you have to update it.
Bandit, Flag, what the name of the thing? In Python, I have it's Bandit,
Oh, okay.
linter stuff like ISort, Black. There is one more. Bandit is one that I remember for security, but there is one more. But yeah, any language has all these static codes, static analysis. AI is not a panacea. AI is something that we can put in our tools, and we already have good tools. We should use them even before AI.
I think Chilla, I got most of the time here to to talk. I got too excited.
There's lots of comments now, man.
Yeah, we have a lot of comments. If you want to.
Oh my god, let's go for it. Yeah, honestly, the act of putting my thoughts in a prompt is usually more the educational than the response, for sure. It's important that you can think about your solutions. It's really awesome. What are your thoughts about the increased importance of knowing more about different libraries to enhance output? For sure, if you as much as you know the libraries you're using, better you can have outputs. Better you can write rules for that, right? So, for example, you can, if you're using SQL Alchemy, you can create rules that improves the SQL Alchemy mapping between the database and the Pydantic and objects, right? So yeah, it's if you know more, you can improve your rules, and then you can get better code output, for sure. Until the AI started to not only comment on the PRs but also accept them and merge them and running the deploy jobs. Yeah, man, people are fear of generating the code already. How they will be? It takes time to get trust. So that's the point here. It's trust. It takes time to put the AI in a way that you can trust the code, right? And you can put on top of this these reviewers, code reviewers, comment and NPRs, creating commits on top of your code. Can you imagine? It's not your code; it's already AI, right? So you're relying on AI to write your code, and then there is another AI that looks at your code and says, "Okay, this code not good. This is another commit." We will be living in a world like that, like soon. Soon. As soon we get more trust in AI code.
And we have the last one here from Tobix.
AI code review is going to waste so much of your time with reasonable looking slop. Yes, this is something that we are starting to think. I've started to think about. That is, I'm much more reading code than writing code, right? So at least in my current workflow, I'm much more reading code than writing code. I'm relying on AI to write all this code, and of course, I stop and write my code sometimes because it's sometimes easier, right? But yes, it takes time, and I can say that for example, we are seeing this new agent from OpenAI, right? OpenAI have this agent, and they are async agents. We can run this in background, so we can have like many agents running in the same code at the same time. It will get worse. So we will be in a near future be the orchestrator of a code agents in a near future, and of course, being able to read code will be a very, very important skill.
Yeah, I think you nail it here. The orchestrator word for those agents. I also believe that, as we said, as we are saying before, even developers, if you are just blind coding, you won't be you'll be very limited to orchestrate stuff. You won't be able to orchestrate because you don't know what is going on. So I think it's still very important to understand what's going under the hood and actually how to use it and plan it in the best way. At least it is something that I believe here and trying to enforce in the team. Not magic. Yeah, close to magic, right?
Oh, and we have a Basilar here. Hey, Basilar.
Hey, Basilar.
It's nice
Good to have you
to have
here.
a Java champion with us.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, Basilar. I had opportunity to meet Basilar here in Toronto. He went to Java user group here to give a talk.
Oh, awesome.
And I was the day before I had a problem. I said, "Oh my god!" And that's impossible. I would have this. When I will have this the opportunity again, Basil? Yeah, yeah. But vibe coding is real, Basil. Yes, for sure. It's something. It's in our lives. It will be. It will get worse. Let's be prepared.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think Chila. I'll give the stage back for you. And
Oh,
Luis
no
also. I
problem.
haven't heard Luis' voice.
Hugo, I think it has been a very amazing conversation, and I enjoyed it very much, Pedro. What you showed us and our audience. So I'm really helpful for that. And but I think conclusion is you still need to be a developer to understand what you are doing. The way how you do things, the way your workflow is changing. So you have to adjust yourself, but you still need that knowledge to make production ready products, I guess. So.
For sure. I have one thing more. Just
Ah.
I have a link to my ebook about this
Oh,
that I'm talking.
really good.
I'm sending you, okay? So everybody, if you wants to take a look, this is my ebook about this exact topic. You know. So and then you can it's a free book, okay? You can just download it. Of course, I would love to have to get any feedback.
Can you share the screen with the ebook page?
The page that I
that you just sent here.
Okay, just a minute.
I think I could do it myself. Sorry, I gave you the work.
Yeah, no, if you have it. Oh, no. It's not correct. Yeah, this is the page that I just sent you guys. Okay, just you can have your ebook. Okay, and let me open the ebook, right?
Sabe aqueles parques que tem uns negócios que sai água assim do chão? Então, tava tendo isso. Depois eu te mostro uma foto que eu tirei foto. E tipo assim, tava todo mundo lá se molhando assim, tipo, muito molhado mesmo, assim, destacando na água. Não era vazar, era tipo, realmente tava ligado a outras crianças brincarem. Nossa, mas tá calor.
Oh, God. Sorry about that.
Calor, né? Sei lá. Só que o que mais me pegou nessa coisa toda foi que eles voltaram pra aula molhados. Nossa.
Oh, I'm not. It's not easy to find here. Okay.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Sorry.
I will find it here.
Yeah.
It should be.
No problem. But it's the topic is about the enterprise AI, enterprise vibe coding. Oh.
No, I found it.
Oh, you found it?
Oh, God.
You want to share?
I can't. No, it's here. So this is my guy. the idea is exactly to talk about that, okay?
Mhm.
So the programs, everything we're talking here. But here we don't have that demo because the demo was created like last weekend. But all the discussion is here.
Effective AI for enterprise development teams beyond basic chat.
Basic chat.
Awesome. Whoa.
That's my
Very
guy.
interesting.
So
Okay,
we have
remove it.
the last question here from Rafael Grando
Elas viraram para
for
mim
you,
assim,
Pedro.
nossa, coisa de americano, né? Cupcake.
Can I use AI in my job interview?
Não.
It depends on the company. My company is accepting
Não come chocolate, não come
AI in job interview during the job interview.
Do you know how to use vibe coding, enterprise vibe coding? So if they are if they are assessing it, yeah, they are evaluating if you are able to do that. I think it's cool. But if you are hiding it from them, so I think that's a red flag.
Eu ajudo
Oh
você.
yeah, if you're hidden it, it's a problem. If you say and people accept, you can. There are some companies that are already accepting. Okay. It's not. It's a minority, I can say.
A cara que a Maia fez.
A small number of it, but yes.
Yeah.
It will be really hard. It is already is for the recruiters and tech apps, tech recruiter apps, to not allow it. It will be. It's already being a problem, but it's another topic.
Conversando sobre masturbação enquanto ela tava com uma cara.
Cool. So Chila, Luis, I think I haven't heard you. Conclusions.
I just want to thank
Yep.
Pedro. I wanted to ask him before, but I don't think we have time. What was the weirdest thing you've ever seen the cursor doing? Maybe not following the rules was the weirdest thing.
No, actually, it's not the weirdest thing. The weirdest thing is trying. It's really interesting when Henry lost context, right? And just a minute. And the weirdest thing, and most of the times, it's when it loses the context, it gets like deleting stuff. It gets change. No, the most interesting was I had a test, and the test was not passing, right? And I said, "Oh, the code is correct. Just adjust the tests." It in the beginning, right? The code is correct. You just create some tests on top of it, and of course, if it's something goes wrong, we would see. And then the tests start not passing, and the guy, and then the cursor said, "Okay, I will go change the code there and make it pass." Go and change the code and make it pass. And I said, "No, man, you shouldn't do that." And then he gets to a point and he said, "Okay." He wrote this. It says, "Okay, I can't mock this guy. I can't change that code, and I can't change the other layer. This test will never pass." And then I said, "Wow, this guy is making a bold statement here. Let's take a look." And he was right, man. The test would never pass. It was really cool to see how he gets like mad with me, you know. I always said, "No, you shouldn't change this. But if I don't change it, it will not pass." I said, "Yeah." It was cool. It was really funny.
Discussions with AI. Okay. Great question.
Okay, I'm giving up. It was like this. I'm giving up. The test will never pass. It was so funny.
Well, okay. So
yeah, there is even we still have some comments. Yeah, Basil will say, Oh, sure, we can have another session there. Maybe in July. Oh yeah. Oh, I unfortunately I'm not part of the Jug stuff. You get me, so you can always talk to them, and I will really appreciate it if you come here again. But I'll be just a participant. And he says again, I guess can finally be hired as a prompt engineer. I don't think so. I think a prompt engineer will be everybody.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes. So I think today's conversation was a great conversation. And I would like to thank Pedro again for this great presentation demonstration. And if there are no less comments, then thank you very much for joining and see you next time.
Thanks, Jeter.
Everybody.
Thanks everyone. See you.
Thanks,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.